Here we will be discussing the sociological impact of animation on society, stemming from a nationally known animation company, Warner Brothers. One of the most respected, diversified, and successful motion picture and television studios in the world, Warner Brothers Studio began when the brothers, Albert, Sam, Harry, and Jack, incorporated their fledgling movie company on April 4th of 1923. In 1927, the release of the world's first talkie synchronized sound featured film, The Jazz Singer, set a character and tone of innovation and influence that will become synonymous with the name Warner Brothers. On October 6, 1927, Warner Brothers Pictures released The Jazz Singer, starring Al Johnson, and a whole new era began with a picture that talked, bringing the studio to the forefront of the film industry. The Jazz Singer played to standing room only crowds throughout the country and earned a special Academy Award for technical achievement. Warner Brothers came to fruition during a time when the pressures, trials, and tribulations of a corporation were of a much different nature than what is faced by corporate America today. In reference to the Page Principles, which emphasize character, humanism, freedom, and democracy, which of course are all based on aspects of culture we hold dear in America and have throughout our history, it is not far-fetched to say that any corporation that adheres to these principles will be considered an American institution, regardless of the time in which the corporation became to be. From its inception in the 1920s, Warner Brothers has been such an American institution as its values and practices have paralleled these of American society. The values and ideas of Warner Brothers match those of American society in a way that other studios just simply couldn't. Warner Brothers didn't simply adhere to the perception of the American dream and place it on a big screen. They showed what it took to make that dream come true and portray those Americans for whom that dream didn't materialize, showing individuals who you didn't see on a regular on the TV screen, acknowledging their preferences or their sense of place in society, showing those things that are happening in the moment, such as the Great Depression and things of that sort. Simply putting those on screen gave people a general perspective of what's going on today, but in an aspect of cartoons, acknowledging their lifestyles and bringing it to light in a happy or, happy-go-lucky way. Warner Brothers Animation provided a different viewpoint. Rather than focusing on the American ideal as defined in live-action film, Warner Brothers Animation directors moved background characters to the foreground. Their cartoons were largely populated by the working classes, rural dwellers, and characters from a variety of ethnicities, and the settings they portrayed would be familiar to audiences in small town and neighborhood theaters. In doing so, Warner Brothers cartoons presented an alternative narrative. There was more than one way to be an American. Animation demonstrated many of the ideals held by social conservatives, that hard work and self-denial would bring success, but also be embraced those often excluded from national narratives, immigrants, people of color, and the working class. By appropriating and manipulating contemporary sources such as genre films, dominant national narratives, and images of the ideal American, Warner Brothers animators crafted cartoons that responded to the concerns and anxieties about the uncertainty of life. As a medium of mass communication, film has undeniable power and scope. No other form of mass communication has been able to further the American agenda as has the American film. Whether in support of protests, films have made meaningful contributions in shaping public opinion. Since the release of its first theatrical short, Sinking in the Bathtub in 1930, Warner Brothers' Astley No, animation, and its family of now classic characters have evolved into a cherished part of our culture, emerging as true entertainment legends enjoyed by children and adults alike around the world, of course. Setting the standard for irreverent, satirical humor and inventive quality of animation, the studio has created a veritable galaxy of stars from its universe. In closing, we have to acknowledge the sociological impact from the Warner Brothers on society. Even looking at today's time, things that have happened in the past have still influenced the cartoons and things that we watch on TV today. We definitely appreciate everything they have taught us, and although you may not have thought there is a connection between yourself and the Warner Brothers, there still is.